Okay guys, we are here today to talk about this book and the TV show with this book, which is Bridgerton season 2. Okay, so I watched the second season, of course, like why wouldn't I? And then right after I watched the second season, I decided to read the book. Immediately I knew while watching the second season, there were things that were different, you know? Which there tend to be things that would be different within a book versus a TV show. But there was, in my opinion, some main things that were not in the show that were in the book. Don't know how I'm really going to go about this, how it's structured. We're just going to go along for the ride. But here is the book versus the TV show. Okay, so I read the entire Bridgerton series last year. You can go check out that video if you want to see what I thought. But I decided to, right after the show, to reread the second book. I didn't want to reread it before the show came out because I feel like if I read them too close together, I compare them too closely. So I kind of wanted to make sure that they were far apart enough that I kind of saw them as their own separate things, but I still kind of remembered what happened in the second book. So in the first book versus the first season, honestly, they kept a lot of it the same. They did add some things, like added new characters like the Queen. They added some more drama, you know, more things in the first season, but basically they kept the storyline the same. That was not what they did with the second book. Let me just preface this right now. Season 2, I think it was great and good for TV. Like, if I did not read the book at all and I just saw season 2, I'd be like, yo, the drama, this show. Like, it was a good TV season. It was a good season. But was it like the book? No. By themselves, great. Adaptations, different. I'm not saying that the show is bad. It's not. I love season 2. I love Kate and Anthony. The chemistry. The chemistry. Yeah. But things I was expecting them to include were, you know, were not in the book. So we're going to go through the book, through the show, let you know what's different, what's the same. I have some notes here that I took, so hopefully I can do this in a good chronological format. So, of course, if you have watched season 2, a big thing is that they changed, I guess, the ethnicities of the sisters, which, bravo. We're going to include everybody in this series. I love the change. And I think because of the change, there's a lot of things they needed to change within the storyline that you see in the book. So in the book, the sisters, they don't come from India, obviously. And they're already a part of this world. They already know of Lady Whistledown. They already know of the Bridgertons and Anthony's reputation. But I think in the show, since they didn't know of Anthony or anything, they had to change some things within the storyline to make sure that they became aware of how this dude is. So in the book, Kate knows that Anthony's a rake and does not want Edwina to go anywhere near him. And in the TV show, they don't really know Anthony's reputation. So I think by Kate overhearing Anthony's conversation with those other guys, like outside, about how he just wants a wife for this, not about love and all things like that, I think that was important because I think that since they're not originally from this area, not from this London, and they don't know the reputation of everyone, it was good to include that so Kate knew to keep Anthony away from her sister. So, you know, there were certain little changes like that on the storyline that they made that completely made sense. And I also think it's hard when you have a book and the author is telling you how these characters are feeling, and you can, like, you get inside each character's mind, because this is told to a dual perspective from Anthony and Kate's point of view, so you know how each of them are feeling. In a TV show, it's really hard to portray that to the audience without, like, having a narrator or kind of the show. Like, we have Lady Whistledown, but she just tells, like, secrets. She's not telling what people are thinking. So it's really the job of the writers and the actors and everyone who creates a show to kind of portray what you want the people to feel and what you want them to know about the characters and what they're thinking. So I think that is really hard when you're taking something and turning it into a TV show, and because of that you need to make certain changes and determine what you can portray in TV and film and what you can't, and what is really not that important to the storyline, basically. So yeah, so there's a lot of things I feel like they changed for certain reasons to make sure that they portrayed certain things. Because so in the book, Kate and Anthony, they don't have a meet cute. She just knows he's a rake and doesn't want her sister to be anywhere near it. They don't really know each other. They never really met each other. She just knows, stay away from Anthony. So they don't have a meet cute, but when through their dialogue and their thoughts and their feelings, you can see that they do find each other attractive, but you wouldn't know that unless you like knew how they were feeling. So I think in the TV show, when they added the meet cute, when Anthony first sees Kate on the horse and they meet each other, they have like a little conversation and a little like racing competition, whatever. He's like, oh, you shouldn't do that, but she jumps in, she makes it, and she knows how to ride like even better than him. That was like their meet cute, and initially there was an attraction between them. Like he's like, ooh, I kind of like this girl, and she's like, not like, we kind of like this guy, but there was something between them. But then at the ball, when they first go to the ball and she sees eyes on Anthony, she's like intrigued because like, oh, that's the dude I saw in the garden, like let me go, you know, follow him outside, like kind of have another conversation. So you kind of see that they have an attraction for each other, they're interested in each other. So I think the meet cute did a good job of setting that basis for both their characters. Like, okay, so initially they were kind of intrigued with each other, but now since they are in this new setting, like he's looking for a wife that he and not fall in love, and she's looking for someone who will love her sister. Now that they're in kind of this situation, now that attraction has changed and kind of shifted, now it's kind of hating for each other, like hate to love. So that was something that they did change, and I kind of understood why they changed that. Since they are making the characters be from another country, you're gonna have to make some adjustments to the storyline. There is like two big things I think that they changed in the story that I was looking forward to in the TV show. One of them was the thunderstorms. In the book, Kate is very scared of thunderstorms. And we do realize later it's from a very traumatic experience when she's in her childhood, but she doesn't realize that right away, but she's terrified of thunderstorms. So yeah, that was something I wish to see, because I don't know, in that instant we kind of see Anthony being there for Kate and kind of like a side we don't really see him be before. So I really like that, and to me that's when they really bonded. She sees a different side of him because of that. I thought that Thunderstorm was a big part of the story. It showed a different side of Anthony when he took care of her during the thunderstorms where she was so scared. So that's why I liked it, and I wished it was in the they could have added that in the TV show. The other thing I wish they added or had in the show was how Edwina wasn't really interested in Anthony. And this is the one thing, like, it made for great television, it made for great drama. So what was I saying? Yeah, the Sisterhood. So yeah, we see Kate and Edwina, great sister bond. They truly do care for each other. What I liked about the book was that we didn't have two girls in love with the same man. That's what I really enjoyed in it, and I was like, thank goodness we don't have, like, they kind of technically weren't fighting over him, but we don't have two girls pining after the same guy and then one thing that's heartbreaking, because that does put a toll on our sister relationship. Edwina let Kate off easy, I'm not gonna lie. Like, she gave it a silent treatment, and eventually she's like, you know, be happy, be with this man. But Edwina was better than me, because I was like, you're not marrying him, we're going back to India. Nah, both, I can't have him, you can't have him, we're leaving. So Edwina was better than me. I'm glad in the show Kate and Anthony got their happy ending, but ooh. So anyway, that's the thing I didn't love that was in the show, that was in the show but wasn't a book, was the sisterly over the same guy. Because basically in this book, Edwina is out in society, and she's like supposedly the prettiest of the sisters, and all the guys want to be with her. And she's like, she needs to find a guy who's more wealthy so that she can provide for her mother and sister in the future. And so she does feel a huge weight on her in the show. I mean, in the book, because she's like, okay, I need to, like, I want to marry who I love, but if I can just find a guy who's like likes to read, then it'll be fine, and we can like have a good marriage as long as he has enough money to help me care for my sister and my mom. She takes a liking to Anthony, but she doesn't fall for him like she does in the TV show, like to the altar. So that doesn't really happen. And when Kate and Anthony get together in the book, Edwina's happy. She's like, oh, I knew you guys liked each other. Because basically in the book, the same thing that happened to Daphne and the Duke and Simon happened to Kate and Anthony. Like the bee sting scene, she got stung by a bee, and he was like, oh, the bee's gonna kill you, the bee's gonna kill you, let me suck the venom out. And so he's like kissing her neck, and then the three moms come out, Lady Featherington, Lady Bridgerton, and then Mary, I guess Lady Sheffield, or Sharma, come out and see them, and they catch him in a compromising position because his lips are literally on her neck. And kind of, they're like, okay, well, she will be ruined, so they need to get married. So that's basically what happened. So that's how they end up getting married. They kind of get forced into a marriage together, but in the end they end up falling for each other. So it's kind of the same concept that's happened in season 1. Oh, my battery's dying. Okay guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. Battery fully charged. Let's get back to the video. But what I didn't love in season 2 was the dynamic with Kate and Edwina kind of going after the same guy, and Kate and Anthony keeping it from Edwina. That's what I didn't like. I think if it wasn't her sister, I would have been fine, but the fact that like Kate has that relationship with Edwina, they're sisters, and no one told Edwina what was going on, and Edwina truly like was in love with Anthony. That's what I didn't like about season 2, and that's what I wish they kept from the book, was that Edwina wasn't really into Edwina wasn't really into Anthony, but she found him like a good person and thought someone she could be with to make sure that her family is well off in the future. So yeah, in the second season, the show took more liberties and changed a lot more than they did within the first book series, and I feel like I mentioned that before. Some of the main things they included in both were that the sisters both kind of after the same guy, and Edwina was the diamond, or the one that everyone wanted. They include the Pall Mall scene. They included when everyone went to the Aubrey Hall to throw that big party, and the Bridgertons hosted a lot of people. So they did that. Something what was in the book is really the Featherington storyline that you see in the show, because honestly the books just focus on the couples. They don't really go outside the couples too much, so anything additional, like with Eloise and Theo with the Featheringtons, that is all additional that the show added to the book. And honestly, I love those storylines. Let's go more into what was different with the book and the TV show, what I loved and what I didn't love. In the show, Kate doesn't really call Mary Mary. She like she's like Mary in third person, but I think she calls her like our mother and stuff, and doesn't really call Mary by her name too many times. But in the book, it's very, very prevalent that Kate always calls Mary Mary. She's like, she's my mother. There's a point in the book she's like, oh, she's my mother, the only one I've really known, because her mother died when she was like, I think 3, really, really young. So she doesn't remember her real mom. So she's like, I don't know why I never call Mary mom, which is kind of odd to me in the book, because like if she's the only mother you technically known, why wouldn't you call her mom? But maybe I don't know, Mary wanted that distinction, like didn't want her to be replacing the mother she originally had. I don't know, but I kind of liked in the TV show that it wasn't always like Mary, like she didn't always call Mary Mary. There's something else in the book. They always talk about how Edwina is so much prettier than Kate. She's the pretty one, but Kate is pretty herself, but when she's next to Edwina, she doesn't look as pretty. She's like plain, she's a spinster, all this stuff. And I'm glad they didn't do that in the TV show. I feel like they did it a lot in the book, and that was one of her insecurities, is like, oh, when Anthony says I'm pretty, he's lying to me, because he really, because I know I'm not pretty. So I'm glad that's something they took out of the book, and I mean they took out of the TV show. I apologize, I keep mixing TV and book, but I know what I'm doing. I'm glad they took that out of the TV show, because I think they like relied so heavy on it in the book. It's like, oh, she's not as pretty as her sister, but by herself she's just not pretty when she's with her sister, but by herself she's just as pretty, and people might think her plain or whatever, you know. What, I'm glad they took that out. I was like, I didn't realize until after reading the book again how much they focused on like how pretty Edwina was. Oh, another thing they changed within this TV show, which I'm glad they did, because I think it makes it more dramatic or more meaningful. I feel like that's not the right word, but when Anthony's father dies, he's not there. In the book he's not there. He goes home and he sees Daphne crying, and he's like, what's wrong? And he's like, and she says, Dad's dead, he was stung by a bee. So Anthony wasn't there when his father died, but he just knows that his father was stung by a bee, and he's terrified of bees now. In the TV show, Anthony actually witnesses his dad getting stung by a bee, and you can understand why he's freaking out when Kate gets stung. Like, you understand the book because that's how his father died, but I think the way they did in the show was just so much better. It's just like he saw it, and you see like the emotion, like he was just distraught, and then the wife comes out and holds her husband. She's like, you need to go take care of the children, go, like they can't see this. Another thing they didn't have in the book was that Lady Bridgerton could die giving birth to her child. That was not in the book, but that's also something I'm glad they added in the show. I think it just added more to Anthony's character and the pressure that he had to deal with after his father died. Like, he was just put in to this title, and he wasn't ready for it. He was still young, and then he had to decide whether his mother or his sister should live, and he wasn't ready for that. He's like, this is too much happening too fast. So I think it added more to Anthony's story, and I'm kind of glad they added that in the show. I think it was very well done, and I liked it better that way, and I think it added more to how Anthony developed. So that was a lot. And they like also added how like Violet was in mourning a lot, and Anthony had to be like the mother and father to his siblings for a while his mother mourned, because she's like, I lost the love of my life, I can't do this right now. Another big thing that was not in the TV show, which I understand when they took this out, because I really don't think you can explain this, was that Anthony had this fear that he would not live a long life, that he always thought he would die at the age his father died. His uncle died young and his father died young, so he just assumed he would die young as well. He even admits, he's like, I know it's ridiculous, but I just have this feeling that I will die young, and I know people think it's crazy if I tell them, but this is what I feel. And so he had this fear, and like, so Kate had her fear of the storms, and Anthony had his fear of like bees and like dying at a young age, didn't want to fall in love, all this stuff. And in the book they really do help each other out, and with that they grow more as a couple. Also in the book, he doesn't tell her that he loves her until after they're married. So in the show, they don't get married until they profess their love for each other. But in the book, they're caught in a compromised position, they get married, and they both know they're attracted to each other. Like, he doesn't deny that. But he like comes to her and it's like, I want you to know that this marriage will not be a marriage of love. This will be just like, I know we're friends, so like, let's just have a good friendship and things, and like, and I know we're physically attracted to each other, so let's just leave it at that. We're not gonna have love in this marriage. So he really goes to the place and like tells her like what the marriage is gonna be, and she's like, okay, I understand. So they're both going into it like, this is not a marriage for love. But eventually she catches feelings, and she's like, I know he doesn't love me, but I guess this is what I'm gonna have to do. And he loves her, but he's like freaking out that he loves her and doesn't know how to deal with it. So all these things happen, and then eventually when he almost loses her, he tells her that he loves her. So those are a lot of the things that were different in the book. Like I said, they made changes to characters and storylines. I think that made a lot of sense for the TV show. As a book reader, I enjoyed the show. I really did. I liked the show for what it was. I think when I didn't watch them and read them too close together that I appreciate the show more. And now after I read the book again, I still enjoy the book, and I love the Anthony and Kate in this book, but I also love the Anthony and Kate in the TV show, and I enjoy both stories. I do think that the one that is in season 2 on Netflix is in my opinion, I think it's great TV, and it keeps you on your seat. You're like, what's gonna happen? Like, oh my goodness, they're dragging this out. And I think the only reason I didn't love it like as much as I loved the first season was because of the sister thing in season 2 that they did, and how like Kate and Anthony are like basically inches apart from each other, have all this attraction to each other, and then Edwina's in the dark, and I didn't really like that. But let me tell you, that wedding scene that when Edwina found out, loved it. I honestly loved that scene when Edwina's like and runs out the church, and she's like, do you love him? I was like, yes, Edwina. That was Edwina's time to shine, and I love that entire scene and all that. I don't know, I feel like they're so different. I can't compare them. This was, out of the entire series, one of my more favorite books that I read, and I think the show did really well with creating a season showing a love story, and it was more of a slow burn. Oh, another thing, in the book we get it's not really a slow burn, we get the romance a lot quicker. It's just more of an enemies to lovers, but in the TV show they made like an enemies to lovers and a slow burn. And here we get there is no slow burn in here. They're attracted, they're arguing, but there's an attraction, and Anthony's like into her, she's into him. They're like, they definitely, if you want more from Kate and Anthony, read this book. But some people, Chandler Ainsley, I saw that she read the book and she didn't like it. She loved the show a lot more. I saw it on her Goodreads. But then Mina Reeds, she read the book and she really liked it. And when I watched her, like her little synopsis about it, she's like, she thinks she liked it more after she watched season 2 because she hadn't read it before. And she's like, if you want more Kate and Anthony, like more of a romance from Kate and Anthony, then read the book, because she's like, she imagined them in this story, and I think she loved them even more because there was more of them, like a romance, more of a, not more of a romance, but more of them together, because you get the slow burn. But here, this is not a slow burn. You see them together, and plus, like, I think halfway in the book they're already married, so you get to see them more together. They're just so different. Like, this book is very different from the TV show. Like, basically for the first season, they took the book and like, okay, we're gonna make a few changes. For this one, they just basically took like an outline. This is basic outline, but then they expanded on that. But I don't know which one I like. I don't know. I definitely want to rewatch season 2 and kind of see what I think, but they're two completely different stories, and I think I kind of like it that way, that they're two different, that I'm going to get something different from the book than I am from the TV show. And I'm loving what they're doing with the TV show as well. So I don't want to be like, I think the TV show's awesome. I don't even know what season I like better, like season 1 or season 2. I loved season 1, and I think season 1 definitely set the foundation for all the seasons that will come. But I think I like the chemistry in Kate and Anthony in season 2 a lot better than the chemistry of Daphne and Simon in season 1. Okay, so that's the book versus the TV show. If you have read the book, what did you think? But yeah, I hope you guys like this book 2 versus season 2 of Bridgerton. Until next time, bye.
Oh.